face.
You are a truth sayer. I've said that about you your whole life. You hold no punches back.
Alan, I hate to say you're right, but when you're right, you're right. And this is something you're right about.
You and we've always had a really healthy respect for each other, and I respect what you do.
Hello, Mark. Mr. Pope, 1996.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Hey, let's give it up right here. This is my guy. Yes. I'm so happy to see you.
Hey, gratitude is a skill, guys. But if you practice, will give you a joyful life regardless of your circumstances.
Yeah, just put my faith in God. I know He's been keeping me humble. I've been talking to Him, praying every night. Just trying to do whatever I can to, and be in the best of His image. God is bigger, the bracelet that I have, that I always wear wherever I go. So just trying to keep that in mind, having faith, in everything I do, and that will take me a long way.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Honored and pleased that you're spending part of your day live anywhere in the country, or perhaps tonight on a podcast or tomorrow on a podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This thing is growing thanks to you. What a beautiful open. That's Jasper Johnson, who at times seems to be too good to be true, but he is that good. He is that good. I just love that. He's a very serious guy. Also, some say the funniest guy on the team, and he's got his head on straight, and he's really, really grounded. Oh, my gosh, really grounded. I just wanted to start with that. My old friend Derek Ramsey, one of the UK greats of all time, as a leader and as a player, will be joining us at 12:30. Deuce Williams, former Studley linebacker for Kentucky, will join us about 1:15. Going to talk a lot of football today for obvious reasons. And even though Kentucky is going to beat the crap out of Eastern Michigan, by the way, DraftKings odds, we'll talk more about DraftKings a little bit later, it's gone up to 25.5 points, which, by the way, doesn't surprise me. Again, I'm no expert on points and how they do it and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to try to be an expert. I don't care to be an expert on it. But it doesn't seem like a lot of points. I mean, they're terrible, terrible, terrible. So we shall see. And I'm excited. Hopefully, it should be. Cutter Boley is the guest with some whispers, and we'll see. If I was 1,000% sure, I would say it. I'm not. He's going to play. Hopefully, he takes all the snaps, and this should be the start of the Cutter Boley era. I'm not knocking Zach Calzada. I just think it's time. Time. And there's no question that there were some passes. Had they been completed, it might have changed things for him. But he did some things for a guy that's going to be 25 years old since he started here, that when you have a young man like Cutter Boley ready to be the guy, that's what you do. How about this little Reds tidbit to start out? They have activated, and really a week or 10 days ago, don't know if he was going to pitch the rest of the year, Chase Burns, who throws 100 miles an hour, and Graham Ashcraft, who's had a nice year. I thought he was going to have a much better year than he has, but he's had a nice year, and his ERA is 3.72. Nothing wrong with that. I actually thought, Jimmy, his ERA would be closer to 3. He's got 56 strikeouts and 58 innings, and I said this when there was rumors about moving him to the bullpen over a year ago, that I think he's got the potential to someday be a closer. So those two guys coming back. And Burns in the pen, wow. And I got to be honest, I'll no filter myself. I'm not the only one, but I had written the Reds off. And by the way, as you know, you can hear every pitch of Reds baseball right here on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM. But the Mets stink so bad. They stink so bad. This is incredible. In the modern era, no one has led 4-0. This is a Jimmy stat. Give you credit for that. No one has led 4-0 and then not put another base runner on. They get the 4 runs in the first inning, and they lost to the Phillies. That's really bad. That's really, really, really bad. So I am, Not shocked. Really surprised that the Mets have fallen apart like this. I didn't think the Mets were going to win the World Series or anything like that, but I thought they'd be much better than they have. And it'll be interesting to see if they make changes in the offseason. But most of our audience, about 99%, doesn't care about that. But I got to tell you, the Reds getting really good starting pitching and adding these two guys to the bullpen, it is powerful. It is really powerful. A little tidbit I came across, and I'm probably going to throw this at Derek Ramsey because I know he knows Bo. Bo Jackson in 1989, hit 32 home runs and had 105 RBIs for the Royals while making some spectacular plays in the outfield. What is always amazing to me, he also ran for 950 yards and 5.5 yards per carry for the Raiders in the same year. That ain't never going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. And so many of us who remember Bo have always wondered, had he stayed healthy, had he not hurt his leg, what he would have done. You never say never, but Jimmy, I don't think we're ever going to see an athlete like that again that could do what he could do with the speed and power. And I remember when Auburn came here to play against Kentucky, they had James Brooks in the backfield and Bo Jackson. And Brooks had a great career with the Cincinnati Bengals. They were just so good, it's ridiculous. It was a Saturday night. I love football at night, and the game was over in the first quarter. They were just on another level. Totally. Nice tidbit from yesterday. I think a lot of people across the Commonwealth and Kentucky fans everywhere were wishing happy birthday to Mark Pope, the 1996 captain, as you know. But going to give a little love to Cats Classic. They put this up. His best game came in the 95-96 season in the opener. He had 26 points, team high, 6 rebounds, 4 blocks as Kentucky beat Maryland 96-84. Maryland was number 14. That was the Hall of Fame Classic in Springfield, Massachusetts. And yes, I was there. And yes, I covered the game. And Jimmy, I don't know if you've ever gone there. Let me give you a suggestion. If you ever get up to Springfield, I think you'd love it. Go see the Basketball Hall of Fame. Are you ready for this? Babe Ruth is in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Your eyes just got big.
Did not know this.
I didn't either till I went there. And I believe it's multiple times. He was doing some barnstorming or something like that in the jersey he was wearing. You know, it's the funny thing. You remember this like it's yesterday, and this was 1995, 1996. Jimmy, the jerseys he was wearing in a couple and they aren't big pictures, by the way. You know, the small shots from way back when looked totally ridiculous. But it was the style back then. And you know, we did a story, and we had to slap it together for TV, and I got to spend some time in Springfield. I wouldn't go to Springfield to see it again, but if I'm ever around Springfield, I'd like to go again and spend hours just looking at the pictures and stuff like that for as much as I love basketball. It's great. Not that I need to shill for him, but I'm telling you, it's absolutely unequivocally worth your time. I want to throw this out here, and it's been on my list. 3 basketball players. This story isn't from today, but I'm surprised there haven't been more of these stories. But there are 3 players named Robinson, Vasquez, and Weaver. Okay, big deal. You have no idea who they are. They play for San Jose State and Fresno State. They're banned from NCAA competition after getting busted for what they're being called manipulating their performances last season. End of quote. Jimmy wanted to just say they fixed games. I mean, why are you shilling for these young people by saying manipulating their performances? It sounds like that was written by a lawyer. See, I think that's BS. Hey, say they fix games. Isn't that what it is? Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, let me know. And if I'm wrong, I will humbly apologize. Manipulating is what? Changing, right? Manipulating is fixing. Now, I don't know the games. I don't know if they won, even though they messed with it, but there's money on the line, all that kind of stuff. You got to keep this stuff straight up. Do you like the term manipulating, Jimmy? I do not.
No, it's like they're beating around the bush. Like you said, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, just call it a duck. Okay? We all know.
Never heard that expression before.
It's like they're trying to use the legal jargon to, like tiptoe around it. Like, just like you said, call it what it is.
So apparently, guessing here when they're going to put the release out, because it is a sensitive topic, they had a lawyer look at it before they sent the release out. That's what this appears to me. And they said, no, this is not how you should say it. And actually, in reality, they should make an example of these young people. Look, you go to the racetrack, you gamble. You're going to be betting on football games, whether it's legally or illegally. That's been going on forever. I'm all for it. And when someone says, well, people can get in trouble, you can get in trouble doing anything. I don't think in my world you should have to legislate most things to protect people. I have a simple rule. I go to Keeneland and I have a $20 rule. It's pretty simple. If I'm down $20, I stop. The only day, 2 days actually, that I will break that rule is Derby Day, where I've been let's just say very, very lucky, but I was around the horses and I got lucky. And Oaks Day, but Derby Day was much luckier than Oaks Day. Not even close. But I have no problem with that. If I'm out $20 after 3 races, I might leave, I might stay. If I'm with my wife or some friends, guess what? I stay. And Keeneland's beautiful. So it's okay. I mean, I could lose $30, but I won't. I just won't. And I'm very comfortable with it. Very, very comfortable with it. Speaking of basketball, they have some tidbits. And I like doing this. I don't do this often enough. I should be talking about football right now, but it's okay. Evan Miyakawa, who's done the show many, many times, has his preseason top 10. He's got Kentucky at number 10. And I find the top 10 interesting. They have Braden Smith, who's going to play here for Purdue in the exhibition game. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him play, by the way. Really looking forward. He could have left. He came back. How many Kentucky guys in the top 10? None. Houston's number 1. Purdue 2. Duke 3. Florida, they've done a nice job adding. They really have. Florida's 4, Michigan 5, UConn 6, Arizona 7, BYU 8th, Illinois 9, and Kentucky 10. And if anybody out there is thinking, well, Mark Pope leaves BYU and look what happens. You know what happened? They got a sugar daddy who's a billionaire, right? AJ DeBansta. And I always wonder if I pronounce that name correctly. He's listed number 7 on Miyakawa's list for the top 10 players in the country. And they will always be good from now on, seriously, as long as that lawyer is involved with that program. It's really that simple. Jimmy, would you cue up Scott Boley, Cutter Boley's dad? There were 2 bites. The first one, and I don't think this will surprise anybody, Scott Boley, former basketball player for Western Kentucky. As I think everybody knows, it's an amazing, talented family. Cutter's sister, best player in the country, went to Oregon, missed basketball, so they know athletics. They know it really well. And I'm as excited as you to see Cutter. And I wonder how many UK fans and UK students are so excited because he's one of their own. That's not a shot against Zach at all. And I've said this many times. When you come from Cuba and you respect your parents and your grandparents and what they did to sacrifice, because America is a country of immigrants, right? We're a country of immigrants. We stole the land from the Indians, and we're a country of immigrants. That's just the way it is. And when you are close in generations to making that move, if you're a good person, you respect tremendously what your elders have done to get you here. It's one of the reasons why I was rooting for Zach Calzada. He's humble. I think he's a great kid. I don't know how healthy he is. I'm assuming there's no way he's 100%, but I think it's Cutter Boley's time. And as I've said many times, had the offensive line been good last year, let's say the offensive line last year was as good as the offensive line this year. How about that? Instead of saying it was the best big blue line since Stoops has been here. It's going to be interesting to see at the end of the season how you judge this line. But they are tons better than last year. Not even close. It's a different ballgame. And you know what? You got to credit Stoops and his staff for that. And I don't think he gets enough credit for the running backs, and I don't think he gets enough credit for the offensive line, and I don't think the defense is getting enough credit for how much the defensive line is better. And the linebackers, which in my mind was a question mark, and I wasn't the only one, they're better than I expected. Don't like how the DBs are playing. Their yaks is terrible. It really is. So there's a lot of improvement on this team, and I think there's still hope. I'm not counting these kids out for making a bowl game. I'm not backing down from it. I could be wrong, and that's fine. But they've improved in a lot of areas, and there's some weakness in called the passing game. That's really bad. So this might not surprise you, and I don't know if you heard Scott the other day, but think of it this way. It's signing day. And this part is not a new story. Neither is the soundbite. But the truth is, oftentimes it's between two schools, and at the last moment, somebody flips. They had committed to one school, they go to another school. Is there sometimes some wink involved? Absolutely, sometimes. Oh, I've just committed to the school, and I just had this last second change of heart. Could be. And I'm not ripping anybody for taking money. I'm just not. Nor am I accusing anybody, because you can throw lawsuits like crazy, but everybody kind of knows at times money switches hands before these recent times of changing in college football. So if you're someone on the level of Cutler Bowley, you would think that perhaps the offensive coordinator wouldn't call, but it'd be the head coaches. And this is what Scott Bowley said the other day. Multiple head coaches, let me repeat, multiple head coaches called because they wanted to see if they could flip Cutler Bowley. I found this soundbite. Here it is. Interesting.
The day he committed, I got woke up before my alarm went off by, I won't say who, but I got multiple head coaches trying to get him to flip. So, he wouldn't even talk about it, honestly. This is where he wanted to be, without question. So, he loves the program, loves, coaches, university, fan base. He himself is all in. So it's good.
Loves the program. Excited to go to work every day, even when he wasn't starting. I mean, come on. That's about as good as it gets. And you look at his potential, it's all more potential. So we'll see. Now, this is a really nice comment, because in the old days, Jimmy, before you were born, I can't imagine in my wildest dreams a head coach or the position coach calling up a parent to keep you update with communication how your son and or daughter was doing. Football son, obviously, duh. I just can't imagine. But with keeping players here and people communicating differently than they used to, this was Scott Bowley making a comment about after one of the scrimmages, he received a phone call from the coaches.
After the two scrimmages, they came up to me, Coach Anthony, Coach Stoops, and talked to me on their own. Actually, Mike Hartline, I think, has been a great addition, by the way. And talked to those guys. They told me how Cutler was doing, that kind of thing. But one of them called me yesterday just to let me know what was going on. So, not necessary, but at the same time, I appreciate it.
And that's really good. Pardon me, didn't call. They came up to him. Let me correct myself on that. I can see Mike Hartline someday being a really good offensive coordinator. I can. I mean, he didn't have a silver spoon. He made himself into a damn good quarterback. And I've said this forever. I think Hartline was a better quarterback here than he got credit for. I do. And Scott was saying that Hartline just had his first child, so mazel tov for that. He knows. He's young. He knows what you go through. I don't think it's a little powerful. I think it's very powerful. Jimmy, let's switch to Brad White, and we'll do something unusual for us. We'll start with clip number 1. How about that? So with all the talk of the offense and the quarterback and the underperformance, Brad White looks at it differently. Brad White, outstanding defensive coordinator. And on the 4th and 1 play, and I wasn't surprised that Ole Miss went for it with a pass. Not at all, actually. In my mind, I was thinking it was a 50-50 shot because of the head coach who's a riverboat gambler. And it turned out to be a huge play. And in Brad White's mind and to his perspective, the outstanding defense coordinator believes that 4th-and-1 play, which went for a gazillion yards, that changed the game.
To me, that was the turning point moment, sort of that 4th-and-1, and they get the big throw, and then we miss a tackle, and it gets down to the 1, and then they score on the next play. I think that was just one of those moments in a game that can really just sort of pivoted at that moment. Again, I thought the D-line played strong up front. Those 2 games in a row, been pleased with their play. I think the linebacker play, has been really solid. Obviously, Ty had a terrific game.
By the way, Anthony White's buddy, Anwar Stewart, is a hell of a defensive line coach. And I've actually been surprised he hasn't been poached. Jimmy, if you get a second, look up what he makes. But I remember when he got here, Jimmy, for a defensive line coach in the SEC, I don't know if he was the lowest paid, but he was one of the lowest paid. And he's gotten a little more money and a little more money. And I actually have been really surprised that some school didn't poach him a number of years ago. I know this is his school, and he's been really loyal, and he's got friends here, and I think it's great. But, come on, if somebody comes in and offers you twice the amount of money, which would not have been unusual for pay in the Southeastern Conference, and I don't know if it happened or not. And if they didn't come in, then they missed the boat because he's really, really that good of a defensive line coach. And Kentucky's lucky to have him, and this is his school. Oh, he's up to $525 this year. Okay,
yeah,
me.
He got a $25,000 raise this year after the contract was signed December of 23, it looks like.
Seems to me that it was around 300 when he got here. Something of that nature. See, he's gotten raises and that kind of thing. You say, well, $525, it's a lot of money. Bet the Alabama defensive line coach is making more. Don't take the bet. Probably Auburn, a lot of other places. And when somebody says, oh, my gosh, it's a lot of money, well, guess what? It's a profession. More power to you. And I think he's a hell of a defensive line coach. Here's the part, and I've been talking about this all week because I don't think he got enough pub, and I pushed it, and because I really thought it was huge. I thought the Yaks. Wow. Even a little more than I expected, Jimmy. I don't even know who it is, but Jimmy just looked up that the Bama defensive line coach makes a cool $1 million.
Freddie Roach is his name. I don't believe it's the same boxing trainer. I believe it is a different Freddie Roach.
Yes, you are right. It is a different one. I'll just tell you what I had in my head, 850, maybe 9, not $1 million for a defensive line coach. So I'm telling you, Kentucky's lucky to have him. They really are. Because I don't know if Roach is a better coach. Jimmy, maybe I've got no idea. But Alabama will pay more. And I would be surprised if Roach is that much better or if he's better than Anwar Stewart. So I think you need to point out sometimes when all the heat and crap that Stoops takes that, he's brought in some really good people. Anyway, the Yaks, I thought, were terrible. And they were doing the same thing, a little hitch and spinning to the outside. And with their speed, I thought Ole Miss destroyed Kentucky. I really do. It was driving me out of my mind. And to me, with the quarterbacks getting all the pub, I sigh because sometimes it's obtuse. You get too much credit when you win, too much blame when you lose. That's part of the quarterback stuff. But I thought that the Yaks, the yards after catch, to me, should have been, as you regurgitate the game for about 5 days until the next game happened. That's why I keep on talking about it, because I thought it was a huge story. And I really like clip number 2, how he talks about Yaks.
Hitches are going to happen. That's okay. That's football. You need to pin them to the ground. They need to be 5-yard gains, 4-yard gains. Every once in a while, they can get a little bit loose and be 6, 7, 8. But to have 2 explosive passes on hitches and 100 yards on 7 hitches in the first half, just unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. Derek Ramsey's in the hopper, so we're going to take our break, and then Derek Ramsey, kind enough to join us. Hey, don't forget, DraftKings, your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and for every touchdown, you can bring yourself closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From the first touchdown score to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. Bengals, who were terrible offensively after Joe Burrow saying he's never thrown the ball any better in preseason, they were lucky to get by the Browns 17-16, and they're only favored by 3.5 over Jacksonville. And I think they're going to score a lot more points. Don't take my advice on what you do. And by the way, Kentucky is now up to 25.5 points over Eastern Michigan, who's never beaten an SEC team, and that won't change this weekend. Again, don't listen to me. I'm just throwing some comments out there. New customers, this one is for you. As you know, the lines and odds could change because the Kentucky game changed by a couple points from the other day. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code LEXSports. That's code LEXSports, one word, to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus. Kentucky only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. My friend, the great one, Derek Ramsey, coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Down, set, hack. Corn dogs coming in for the blitz.
Rick, what are you doing?
Brent, I'm practicing my snack plays for the next football game.
Well, in that case, Uncle Rick, stop by any Clutch Stop and Shop and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Uncle Ray's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Don't get sidelined without your supplies this football season. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM on the ESPN Lexington app, listening all over the world as we have a lot of folks in Louisville and Indianapolis and a lot of other places listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This gentleman is the pride of Hastings, Florida. 1956. He was born. One of the great leaders and football players in the history of Kentucky. Played in the NFL for the Raiders, the Patriots, the Lions as a tight end. Served in the Kentucky state government, Secretary of Education and Workforce Development, and has been involved in academics with Board of Trustees, an athletics director multiple times. Check out his book, They Call Me Mr. Secretary, that he did with my partner in my book, Cut to the Chase, Dr. John Wong. And he's been kind enough to join us. And you can't forget that he was all SEC first team in 77 and led Kentucky to a 10-1 record, number 6 in the country, as they shared the 76 SEC championship. And if I keep on telling all the things you did, I'm going to say goodbye because their time will be up. Man, you know, with all the kidding that we do each other, your accomplishments are spectacular and off the charts. Hello, Ram.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, let me ask you this before we go any further. How much do I owe you for all that? I mean, that was so good. I like that. I mean, I was impressed with half of it myself. I mean, you left out a couple of Super Bowls. I mean, but who's counting?
You know what? I could have. It would have been an 8-minute introduction, Ram. Hey, you know my rates. Cup of coffee. I'm easy.
I know. And a long-term friendship, a lifetime friendship. How about that?
Yeah, that's more than worth its weight in gold. You
got that right.
You know, there's a lot of things. I call this no filter, and I've said this before. The truth is, I'm not going to talk about everything here, and we've had private conversations that would never go on the radio, and that's okay.
Right.
But there's we're not going to talk about some of that stuff, but there's nothing you and I privately can't broach as friends, and to me, that means the world. And do we always agree? Right. But I think we've been surprised how much we really do agree.
Well, I've just taught you a lot over the years. I mean, it's taking you a while to say, you know, Rams, you're right. You know, and I appreciate that. I mean, it used to be a 15-minute conversation about nothing. Now I can just get right to the chase, a minute or two, and you go, you're right, Ram. I'm sorry, you're right. But anyway, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. An egregious mistake on my part, giving you that hanging curveball straight line that you just smacked about 500 feet.
Yeah.
And because of, I could feel your smile emanating across your mug. We're not on Zoom, we're doing it on the phone, but I could feel that smile that I felt many times, like, gotcha, Cut.
Yeah. Well, when am I ever not smiling, Cut? I mean, life's been too good for me.
You do smile a lot. You do. You do. And it's you've always had an amazingly positive attitude, even when I met you, because it couldn't have been easy. And we've talked about this before. I'm not looking to get in this direction, but you're the first African-American quarterback here. And at times, that wasn't easy.
And you know how long ago that was, Cut?
I was just out of diapers.
50 years ago, I became the starting quarterback here.
That's amazing. Do you remember the moment where you were told you were going to be a starter even though you knew?
Yeah, I came out of the spring spring practice as a starting quarterback. And so I held that position for the first 4 weeks, and we were 2-1-1, and they benched me, and I sat out for the next 6 weeks and learned a lot because I was awful. I'd make big plays, then I'd screw up. I'd make big plays, then I'd screw up, and so it gave me an opportunity to learn, because I had broken down films probably since I was 13, 14 years old with my high school coach, so I know what to look for, and you can kid yourself or you can look at it and say, man, this is what I need to work on, because after those 4 weeks when they benched me, because I'd never been benched before in my life, I was going to transfer. And Coach Kersey and my dad and I, we had a conversation. And, he said, well, we're going to move there. He said, no, you're not. This is my dad talking. He said, my son could have gone anywhere in the country. And you told him he was going to get to play quarterback. So what you have to understand about Derek is he has to understand he's failing. Other than that, he will never quit. And so for the next 6 weeks, I just watched what these other guys were doing, watched how our offense should have been ran. And part of the reason I was awful at it, Cut, was we were in a veer. Well, at that time, I was 6'4" and about 210 and a size 15 shoe. So people were stepping on my foot, and it was just a mess at times. And so we changed the offense to go to that abbreviated wishbone, where my first read was the outside linebacker, second read was a strong safety, and then the rest is history. But it's all understanding, of what we're trying to accomplish and how we go about it.
That last point is, to me, really big.
Okay.
They changed the offense for you.
Yes.
That doesn't happen a lot 50 years ago. Doesn't happen a lot today. Didn't happen a lot 80 years ago. And during this season, one, you had to have really smart coaches to make the change, and two,
the change Cut wasn't made until the spring.
Okay. But even still, how in the history of football do they change an offense for one particular player?
Yeah. Well, next time you talk to Coach Kersey, ask him why.
I will. As a matter of fact, you know what? He's been on my list, and I know Fran would do the show. I'm going to try to get.
Yeah, absolutely, he would. Yeah.
Oh, I got a lot.
And
great. I really like.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah. Now, Fran, if he won't, then I'll nudge him a little bit. I talk to Fran on a regular. Over the last, since I left here, I tell you, there probably hadn't been a time period over those years, maybe 2 or 3 months that we haven't spoken. But as he's gotten older and I've gotten older, we probably talk 2 or 3 times a month.
It's interesting. As we get older, with my son just getting married, and this has been going on for a while for me, my close friends, as much as I've always cherished, and I've been pretty good about that, I cherish even more. Yeah. You're saying the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Tell me about this Kentucky team. I'm going to throw that out there, and then I want you to go. I think the running backs are much better.
This Kentucky team?
This Kentucky team, the running backs are much better. The offensive line is much better. I have no clue about these outs. The defensive line is better. The linebackers have been better than expected. The DBs are doing a horrible job with Yaks. But overall, tell me what you agree with. Tell me what you disagree with. Tell me what you think.
Well, I was at the game this past weekend, and I was happy to see that, because and you mentioned it right off the top there. Last year was the first year that Coach Stoops hadn't had a running back, a top flight running back. And so consequently, we couldn't run the ball if everybody fell down. This year, we're a little bit better. You know, the quarterback situation still has to be resolved. But, you know, and I've mentioned this to you before, this whole deal where guys are coming from different institutions year after year after year after year, they can do that when you're playing guard and tackle or defensive end, and not to belittle those positions. But at the quarterback position, that person needs to be there and be there for some time. There's a trust factor there. These guys have to understand you. You have to understand them. As a leader, you have to be able to push them. Well, if they don't know you, they're not pushing you. You're not pushing anybody around. I mean, you got to keep in mind, everybody that comes to the UK is at least a all-conference player. Most of the players are All-American. And so having said that, if I'm an All-American, you're an All-American, we're both All-Americans. Well, now you got to get here and demonstrate why I should follow you. And, you know, we're real fortunate with Levis, but since that time, we just had okay guys. And so until we find that guy that we're going to have in here 2 or 3 years, again, this is just my perspective. I'm not a coach, but I know what it takes to lead a team. Because what ends up happening, Cut, when that team is your team, my guys, 50 years later, if I call them, they're going to line up for me today, still. And they know if they need me to line up, I'll be there. And so there's a trust factor, there's a belief factor. You know, when you get these guys, when you start pushing them, when they're tired and they're not playing that well, I mean, you have these conversations in the huddle, you have these conversations walking on the field. But again, it's that leadership thing, and it's a trust thing, it's a belief thing. I'll give an example, Cut. We're playing Florida in 1976. It's hot as hell out there. And I felt that we had Florida on the ropes. And it was a tight game early, 7-10 or something like that at this point. And so I sped the game up. And I could speed the game up because I was calling the plays. And they would send them in from the sideline. But I also had veto power to check out of it or go to another play. And so I sped the game up intentionally because I knew we had them on the ropes. And so Coach Kersey calls timeout. And so I come to the sideline, and Coach Moss is like, Rams, you got to slow it down. You're going to kill these big guys. I said, Coach, I got him on the ropes. This guy trust me. He said, trust me. Just slow the game down. Okay, well, I go back into the huddle, and I tell my guys, I say, hey, guys, I know it's hot out here, and I know I'm driving pretty hard here, but we got these guys on the ropes. I said, now we're going to keep it at this tempo. We're going to take this ball down the field, shove it down their throat, score a touchdown, the damn game's over. Well, that's exactly what happened. We drive it down their throat. We end up beating them 30-something or 40-something to 20. You know, but again, if these guys didn't trust me or believe me, you know, because I told them, I said, I'm not going to leave anybody out here on the field. Anybody needs to be carried out, I will carry everybody out by myself one at a time. But again, they got to trust you. And if I come in January and I'm playing with you in September, what trust are you building up? It just doesn't happen that way.
The way the system has changed with so many people moving, coaches are doing all these bonding things that wasn't even existing when you played. And I think it's got better to build trust quicker, but sometimes that time period isn't enough. I think coaches are better at it because they've had to get better at it. But without the trust, I couldn't agree with you more. There are some schools where that trust is happening fairly quick, but you have to question, how could it be nearly as strong as it was for you when you were with your guys, as you called them, for years?
Yeah. Well, okay, you said it's happening faster. Give me an example where it's happened faster.
Well, I think most schools,
in particular with the quarterback position, not the other positions. I'm talking about the quarterback position.
well, for example, Tennessee just got a guy that was at a smaller school, went to UCLA. The Tennessee kid wants more money, goes to UCLA. This guy
goes to UCLA,
yeah, and he comes into Tennessee and he's doing really well. I think kids have changed, but your point
is 2 games into the season, Cut. What are you talking about really well?
Well, so far it's been really well. Now the schedule's about to get a hell of a lot tougher because it's the SEC.
Well, that's well, and now keep in mind, Cut. During the time I played here, we didn't play Eastern and Western and the small people of Georgetown. You know, I mean, so it required a whole lot more. You know, you look at our schedule. You go back 2 years ago. You go back to last year. Everything has changed. I mean, now we're front and load some SEC schools, so you don't get to have warm-up games. So again, that's why it's critical that leadership is there. And it's not just there from the spring and the summer, that off season to the regular season. I mean, this is a bond. I look at football as modern day gladiators. Okay? Now, why do I say that? When gladiators go out to war, or when they used to go out to war, they went out of what? A tunnel. Right? Yeah. Every time these guys go out there, there's a chance that they may not come back. Well, when you go out there as a football player, there's a chance you may not come back. And so there has to be a bond and support and a brotherhood that takes time. It's not a 1 year, it's not a 9-month thing. And then you have these bonds, you know, for life.
So I'm agreeing with you 100%. Okay. Here's the point where I'm trying to say the coaches have become smarter trying to help these guys, and they've used psychologists and stuff like that to help that bond get quicker. And they have, but
I don't think that works, Cut. I really don't think it. I remember when I was with the Patriots.
Let me ask you.
They had a psychologist there, and you know, he and I would talk, and they'd have everybody sit and have the sessions. Well, the interesting part, he and I became very good friends. But I was more challenging. The reason we became friends, I was more challenging him about the approach that he was taking that would make me a better player, make me a better teammate. I didn't agree with. So what happens when you have a player like me? I mean, I wasn't disruptive.
You're the leader.
I just didn't agree with what he was saying.
Okay.
I mean, the thing that helped me more than anything, Cut, as a leader, was the years I was in ROTC. That was that helped me more than anything lead men.
Oh, I could easily believe that. Yeah. Ram, we're not disagreeing as much as you think. Really.
Yeah.
I think the psychology.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I want to hear you talk, not me, on this, and I'm being really serious. I think psychologists have gotten better. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
And basketball is not football. Although you and I have talked, I think you would have averaged double-double had you played basketball here for 4 years. I really do. And I'm not saying it because you're on the show. You know how I feel about you. Because pity the poor guy that tried to push you around to get a rebound. They've gotten so much better, for example, with basketball, getting guys to bond much quicker in stuff that they're doing. I think the psychologists have gotten better. I think they've been forced to do it. I think these coaches should have been doing those things when you played, and it still wouldn't equate years, and it wouldn't equate to you because you're just different. There aren't a lot of leaders like you, dude. There aren't. So give yourself credit. I've been around here a long time, and I've never seen you here. So I'm giving you credit because it's real. I'm also saying the amount of time is real, and you can't substitute that time, but they have gotten better psychology in trying to get guys together. They just have. And I believe, I absolutely believe that. And from the bottom of my heart, but it's just not as good as you can when you're with guys for 4 years. I'll go one more, and this is really amplify your thing. Some kid who transfers 3-4 times, right? That kind of thing. You see that happening all the time now. What kind of reunions they going to have? They can't have the reunions that you have with your guys. I've seen you with you guys. They love you. They respect you, and nobody who's still around who played with you, if they pick up the phone, you won't help. I know that. I've seen
it. You got that right.
Guys tell me. Greg Long, our dear friend, has told me the same things about what you do for everybody. I get it. But not everybody does it. So one, you are a better leader, and two, the psychology is better today. It doesn't negate the fact that time with a great leader, with more time, you can't do a much better job. But basketball has done a job in some of these teams when all of a sudden you got 10 new players and you got to introduce themselves to each other. Look, got about 3 more minutes. Let me throw it this way. Did Fran Kersey, when you were here in the 70s, did he have offensive linemen stand up and talk to defensive players and those kinds of things, little gimmicks? And I say positive gimmicks, and I'm not saying gimmick in a negative term, Ram. I'm not. Derek Ramsey, the great one, is kind enough to join us. There's a million little tricks they're doing today they should have done back in the good old days to speak up. But nothing equates to what you guys did doing it a number of years. So we kind of agree. We even argue. You know what? Folks need to know we even argue when we agree.
Well, we just got to make sure that one of us is right.
I'm not taking up the next 3 minutes. You and I yell. The program, in your honest, humble opinion, can Stoops get us back to winning 10 games a year like he did 2 out of 3 years? And he did improve the program a lot. He slipped. In today's time isn't given to a lot of coaches like it should. But when you're owed $38 million, you might end up getting more time. Do you think he can rebuild this thing?
Well, let me say, first of all, I am a Coach Stoops supporter. The game has changed cut when you have these guys. It goes back to what I was talking. I think the coach that is going to be most successful is a coach that don't have 25 new guys coming in there every year. You know, for those reasons we just talked about. You don't have new coaches coming in there every year. I mean, it's all about keeping your group, your guys together. To answer your question, do I think Coach Stoops can get us back to that 10 win? Yes, you know, because the schedule is still going to be helpful. You know, they're not playing that front end easy schedule, but they're still sprinkled in there. And so, yes, I think he can get us back there. Is it hard? Absolutely. But, you know, it always sickens me that when people say, whoa, the SEC has gotten so hard. Well, hell, I don't know what you were thinking about when I played. It was just as hard. So to answer your question,
it does.
Yes, I think he can do that.
Sorry for stepping on you, Ram. I can't stand it when somebody says Kentucky has a hard schedule. It's
Yeah, really? Oh, when did that happen?
well, no, but guess what? Florida has a hard schedule. Kentucky has a hard schedule. Alabama has a hard schedule. Tennessee has a hard schedule.
Everybody has a hard schedule. What the heck are they talking about?
I can't stand it when they do that. It really, well, they're much better, but they play a hard schedule. It makes me want to go, shut up. Everybody's got a hard schedule.
Yeah, no, the question you just asked them, Cut, is where have you been, buddy?
Yep. Well, it's people honestly looking for an excuse. And you know what? You're not in the ACC. You're in the Southeastern Conference. Okay, so you can't handle the schedule, then you suck. And if you can, you're going to be really good. It's very simplistic. Hey, we're about out of time. I got to ask you one thing. This popped up, and
but let me comment quickly on that also. Okay? I don't care what institution you're at. At some point, you will be down too. Alabama's been down, Georgia's been down, and of recent, Tennessee is just now coming back. Florida's been down for a while. They're sputtering with trying to come back. So it's just a matter of your time. Now, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Question.
Good comment. I got to ask you about this. This popped up, and when I saw the stat, I copied and pasted because I had to ask you. You ready?
Yep.
When I say this, I want to know if you think this will ever be done again. Bo Jackson in 1989 hit 32 home runs besides his unbelievable defense and posted 105 RBIs for Kansas City. While for the Raiders, he only averaged 5.5 yards a carry only and had 950 yards. You never say never. We're never going to see this again. And if he didn't get hurt, is he the greatest of all time?
From my perspective, he is. I mean, the thing that this guy did and could do, I remember I'd gotten traded to the Patriots. And, of course, I was a Marcus Allen fan because Marcus could do everything. I mean, this guy was so talented. And they would tell me, they say, hey, man, you haven't seen anything like this guy. I said, what are you talking about? He said, this guy, Bo Jackson, he said, you have not seen anything like this. That's what they kept telling me. And sure enough, I'd watch a bit, watch a game. I watched that Seattle game. I was like, have mercy. The one where he ran through the linebacker there.
Yep.
And
Weird.
Yeah. And I was like, whoa. Now this guy is inhuman. So to see something like that again in this lifetime, well, it was 40 years or so between him and Jim Brown. And we all thought, or most people thought, there would never be anything like Jim Brown again. Well, many, many years later, here's Bo Jackson.
Maybe someday, and Jim Brown could have played a lot of sports.
Oh, Jim Brown could have did whatever he wanted. I mean, he was the best lacrosse player in the country at the time.
He played against my school, Cortland, because Cortland are next to each other. And this comes from a number of people. He really wasn't a lacrosse player. He just was the best lacrosse player in the country. He picked it up, messing around. And the high school where he came from was known for lacrosse, by the way back when on Long Island. So he would drive up in a sports car. You ready for this? Would drive to court in a sports car by himself, and he'd have the gear in the car, and he had the tiniest stick that they ever saw, because once ball, he just went forward. Who the hell was going to stop him? I can't believe I just used that word. Who was going to stop him? And he would score. He would play too. He often wouldn't be in the game, but when he showed up, once he got it, I was told from a couple old guys, his percentage of score is ridiculous. It's Jim Brown.
Right. I mean, so when you look at what Bo did, this guy would play football, play basketball, then he'd take his stuff off and go run track. And he was just amazing would not really define how great this guy was.
I agree. Do me a favor. Next month, if you have time, would you grant me another half hour? I just love talking to you. It's great radio, and your knowledge sharing is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, only if you reach out to a friend Kirsten.
It's already on my list. Promise you. I promise.
Yeah.
And you know,
reach out to him, and if you don't have his number, I'll give it to you.
I think I got it. And I hate to admit this to you. This hurts. Seriously. Shame on me for not already asking a friend to do the show. So this is my bad. I hate to admit it to you, but that's how our relationship is.
Yeah. No, he was, and I wish the guy that friend and trusted my career with was still alive. His name was Perry Moss.
Yep, you've talked about.
He was the guy. You know, my high school coach was great. And then Perry just took me to another level of knowledge, because what we did, Cut, after that Florida game, he's walking on the field, and he walks up beside me and tells me who he was and told me about this great quarterback that he had at the University of Minnesota named Sandy Stevens. And, of course, I knew who Sandy was, because I followed all the African-American quarterbacks when I was in high school and middle school. And he said, just give me a chance. And so that Monday after the Tennessee game until spring football, Perry and I met every morning at 6 a.m., Monday through Friday, just he and I. So when we got to spring football, I knew the entire offense. And that's why he gave me the latitude to do the things that I did.
Bless you, man. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your knowledge. This felt like 8 minutes on the phone. Ram, you're the best. You are the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Cut.
Appreciate you.
We'll talk soon, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek Ramsey, the great Derek Ramsey. Jimmy, he's got stories that are unbelievable. I mean, you change the offense for him. That's just, come on, Jimmy, you're a football guy. That stuff doesn't happen.
No, that's like a once in a generation talent is what you do that with.
Well, the other thing too is, you know, and we've talked about this before with him on the air. He should have been governor. And I would have campaigned for him. Do you think I'm going to go out and campaign for people? State needed him. And by the way, with stuff he did in the cabinet and stuff like that was absolutely spectacular. Who goes and visits every single county in the state to help young people out? That's Derek Ramsey. Tell you what, check out Subaru. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal. I think most of you know, and if not, check it out yourself. The Outback is special. And what a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9% for 72 months. What a deal. 0% for 36 months. Don't forget the Quantrill family of dealerships is the right place. Hey, drive in from Louisville because this is a great dealership. Drive in from Cincinnati. As we got folks listening there, come on down. Check out Quantrill. We've purchased 2 cars from them before they became a sponsor of the show. Quantrill, family of dealerships, the right place to get your next Subaru. They promise to get you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks. Coming up, Chip Rupp. After that, Deuce Williams having fun on a Friday as Kentucky's getting ready to blow out Eastern Michigan. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrill Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Down, set, hack, corn dogs coming in for the blitz.
Rick, what are you doing?
Brent, I'm practicing my snack plays for the next football game.
Well, in that case, Uncle Rick, stop by any Clutch Stop and Shop and pick up assorted Reese's king-size candy bars, 2 for $4, and Sour Patch or Swedish Fish peg bags, 2 for $6.
Don't get sidelined without your supplies this football season. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington, an LM Communications broadcasting station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. We don't push this enough. Only a few have joined, but if you do, please subscribe. ESPN Sports Radio 1300 now live on YouTube. Only a few have subscribed. I need to push it, but our numbers listening on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM are going up, up, and up. People listening in different states and stuff like that live are going up, 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 and up. Podcasts are going up, up, and up. So I say thank you, and thank you to Chip Rupp. I'm glad you know my schedule better than me. This is probably the 10th time I've said this in almost 3 years. I need to follow the person who schedules the guest, me. I messed up again. Thank you for helping me out, Chip. How are you, buddy?
I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I want to start with this. Evan Miyakawa, who does a great job, stats guru guy, who's going to end up on ESPN or something. I told him that after the first time he did the show. I'm going, oh, dude, you're really good. Not with your work, but he can also speak. It's something you need to do sometimes. I'm curious what you think of this. He's got his, the old way too early top 10. He's got Houston 1, Purdue 2, Duke 3, Florida. They did a really good job of filling in the holes there. 4, Michigan, UConn, Arizona, BYU, Illinois, and Kentucky in their top 10. Probably silly for me to throw this out because we got to see these guys. Any thoughts about that? Let me throw one more at you, Chip. I've been surprised that, I look at this stuff, but I don't take a lot of credence. Some of this is off reputation, as we know. It's just like Alabama shouldn't have been ranked so high in football going into the season. You don't know until they start playing and that kind of stuff. I'm not ripping the people that voted mine. That's just how I feel. And I'm surprised Kentucky hasn't been in more of these way too early top 10s. You got a thought on the top 10?
I think, Houston, Kelvin Sampson does such a great job building a tough roster that's just physically tough. But I don't know how you don't have Florida up there in 1 or 2 and have them done at 4. That's glaring because with the bigs they returned, I know there's some question marks losing Walter Clayton, but I think they picked up some good guys through the portal. I would think they're ranked a little low. And I'm okay with, specifically where Kentucky's ranked. I think on paper, I'm super excited. I think it's a Final Four roster, but, let's see how it all evolves. Let's not put the bar too high right out of the gates. And I think we'll climb up there pretty quickly.
Well, it's not like Kentucky can ever sneak up on anybody, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. There's a lot of unknowns, but the roster's great.
What excites me tremendously, and I never thought I'd be this excited to see an exhibition game. Braden Smith, who could have left, as you know, is a hell of a guard. I want to see him live. He's listed by Miyakawa as the number one player in the country. I don't know who doesn't have him in the top three. And he's coming here, and I think it's going to be great to see him play against Kentucky guards and what he does. The kid's got a wonderful future. He's rated number one. I am more excited about this exhibition game than I will be for some of the cupcake games. Not even close. And if Kentucky wins or loses, it doesn't really matter. But you want to see how they compete and how they work and stuff like that. And doing these exhibitions should have happened when you played. It's how slow they are to fix this stuff. It's common sense. Neither here nor there. I'm so excited to see that young man play, and obviously the Kentucky kids, but how the Kentucky kids do against a kid like that.
No, I think it'll be a great challenge, and it'll give us a benchmark to see where we are as compared with, the highly ranked team like Purdue. It is happening incredibly early, though. I mean, I looked at it, and that's in October 24th. Is that right?
My birthday.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's happening way early. So it's going to be hard to have too much stuff in there, but nonetheless, it's going to be incredibly exciting to bring someone in like that, and it'll be fun to watch for sure.
And I'm not shilling for Kentucky, but when you have the number one player, some say, in the country, and he's your point guard, and he's coming back, that's a tremendous advantage. I don't give a hoot who Purdue is playing early. I just don't.
Well, I got to tell you that, Painter must be doing something right to be able to retain him. I mean, I know that there were big offers being thrown around, and to maintain the loyalty and to maintain, your roster year over year, as he's been able to do very well, says a lot about him.
There are some people believe that Matt Painter has done a better job than anyone in the country over the last 25 years with a lack of 5 stars. He doesn't get 5 stars. He's looking for a work ethic. He obviously knows what he wants and is getting. But you could honestly make a case he's been as good as any coach in the country based upon who he's been able to recruit. Now, you can say, okay, well, you know what? Why don't you get 5 stars? I'm sure he's been turned down by some, but the point is he has been one of the best coaches, one of the top 10 coaches in the last 15, 20 years in college basketball. I don't think too many people can dispute that.
No, you really can. Excuse me. I love what he does. If you just look at that whole scenario. So he was a coach in waiting with Gene Katie, who was a legend. Very rarely does that work out as favorably as this has. And he stepped in, and even though he hasn't won a national championship, he has built a roster that works in his system. He's been able to retain his players. They've been at the top of the conference every year, and they're doing a lot of things right. I'm a big fan of his.
And he's supposed to be, I don't know him, never talked to him. He's supposed to be a really good dude and a really good person as well, which kind of fits because I don't think he could be this good as a basketball coach, not recruiting 5 stars and be a turd. Pardon my French.
Agreed. I've never met him. I did know his Coach Katie, and he was always very complimentary of his abilities, but I've never met him, but he's done a phenomenal job.
Are you surprised? This story is from earlier the weekend, and I just mentioned it today. You got 3 players. I don't know who the hell they are and don't need to know, and I'm not going to know every player in the country from San Jose State and Fresno State. They're banned from NCAA competition after getting busted for manipulating their performances last season. I'm surprised we haven't had more of these stories. It's a credit, I think, to everybody there hasn't been. That doesn't mean there aren't some other stories that haven't been caught, but they're looking out for them. I don't like the term manipulating their performances. They mess with the game. They should never play again. That's how I feel about that. I'm glad for the sake of basketball that you can gamble, and not because DraftKings is a sponsor, which we appreciate. That has nothing to do with my feelings, Mike. I think you should be able to gamble reasonably and responsibly, and that's up to the person. I was expecting more stories like this than we've seen, and I'm glad I'm wrong.
I couldn't agree more. Gambling in athletics has always been a problem in my mind. And then you introduced it into the collegiate game. You're just welcoming tampering and people piquing players' interest in, to your point, manipulating. You don't necessarily have to throw a game, but when you're going to the line and you know that a spread that you're trying to cover is 3.5, and if you just happen to short arm this free throw, there's a lot of things that could happen. And it, to your point, it has been it's been held at bay for the first couple of years that it's been legalized, and I hope that that they continue to keep an eye on it.
I remember back in the 80s, shortly after I got here, I had some private conversations with people who said, hey, the head coaches know what the point spread is. And if they can't affect it, they will, because they want to keep their boosters happy. And so, this is not new because of the DraftKings of the world. I think some people think it is. It's not. As a matter of fact, it was interesting. Ole Miss coach comes out and says, sorry, Gamble. I'm sorry, whatever now. I wonder if Lane Kiffin would have said it 30 years ago. He might have been one of the few, but the other coaches quietly know it. They just and some of the greatest coaches wanted to make sure that they took care of their boosters, and I can't blame them for that. Can you?
No, you can't. And to your point, I was at that Ole Miss game, and I was sitting next to someone who had wagered on the game based on the line. And when that field goal went through that covered it, it was an issue. And I had a couple guys who were very upset. I was upset about the outcome of the game, but they were upset about how it impacted their wallet. So
I understand.
Yeah.
I've talked to a couple of people who came up to watch Kentucky play football because their school was here, who then went to Keeneland and their team won, but they didn't cover and they weren't very happy. I think that's normal stuff. My point is that this stuff has been going on for a long time. And I wonder how many fans realize that coaches are more cognizant of this than they realize. That's all.
Yeah, you would like to think that it's not even on their, I think to use your term, in their cranium, but they are aware of it. And, I hope that they're not making decisions at the end of the game just to, if the game's out of control, just to cover the spread or total points or things like that. I hope that doesn't creep in, and I hope they continue to regulate that heavily.
I mentioned this during the monologue. Let me throw it at you. I think a lot of people know. People were saying happy birthday to Mark Pope yesterday, that kind of stuff. And Cats Classic put this up, so I give him credit. I honestly had forgot about it till I saw it, then I remembered because I covered the game, that his best game came in the 95-96 season. In the opener, 26 points, 6 rebounds, 4 blocks. Kentucky beat Maryland, number 14 of the country, 96-84 in the Hall of Fame Tip-Off Classic in Springfield, and I was there. I don't know if you were there or not, but that was a hell of a game. Did you go to that?
I did not go to that game, but I do remember it, and I didn't remember his individual performance though. But no, it was a heck of a game for sure.
I didn't remember he had 26 points. I did remember he had a lot of points. I did not remember the 26, 6, and 4, but I do remember him being big. By the way, if you've never been there, suggestion: every basketball fan should go to the Hall of Fame. As I was did a monologue talking about, Babe Ruth is in there at least twice in goofy uniforms. And we had to do a story and had to turn it. So I got to spend a little time, but I didn't spend as much time if I want. If I'm ever in Springfield ever again, I'm going back to the Hall of Fame, getting a big cup of coffee, and probably going to spend, I could see 3-4 hours. I'd suggest everybody within the sound of my voice, if you love basketball, should do it. If you haven't done it, Chip, I suggest it and recommend it highly.
So I have been a couple times, and ironically, one of your other guests that you've had on periodically, Jim Host, had a discussion with me, and he's been more recently than I have, and he said, we need to pay it another visit because they've done some renovations and it's even nicer than it was. But it's just mesmerizing to just spend hours. You can get lost in there going through all the former players. It's really a great experience.
Didn't say this as much as I love baseball. I thought the Basketball Hall of Fame was far superior.
Well, I've been to both, and I would agree. Yeah. I sure would.
And I love baseball, but with too many statues, they come up with pictures and pictures, the goofy things that Babe Ruth wore, who's in the Basketball Hall of Fame just because he's Babe Ruth. It's incredible. We haven't talked in a while on the air. Has anything changed in your cranium about Kentucky basketball coming up, or are you kind of like me? I can't wait to see these kids play.
No, my cranium hasn't changed. I'm really excited to see them. I love our components. I think Mark, what's going to be fun is we didn't get to see the best of Mark Pope last year. And what we did see was pretty amazing with a roster that was constructed in relative short time period. didn't have all the complementary components that he needed to play his style. So I think we're going to see the best version of him this year because he has all his components. And then when you look at it, our backcourt and our bigs, it mirrors what we saw Florida do last year. So I really love what we have, and I think that we're going to be competitive all the way up to, a Final Four takes a lot of luck, but they're Final Four good. So it's going to be fun to watch.
I look at it this way. He wanted to get the ball across court quickly. He couldn't because he didn't have the personnel. They haven't talked about it, but I anticipate that the ball will be across midcourt much, 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 much faster because, you can't do what you don't have the personnel to do with all those injuries. So I'm really curious about the speed, and I still think it's going to be better. I've been saying this since the get-go. It's going to be a much better three-point shooting team than people realize. One, they're better shooters, as I've said from the get-go, and the other thing, too, they're going to get more open shots because the ball's getting up the court quickly, and that's going to become a big issue in other talk shows as time goes on. I can see it. I can feel it. I can taste it, Chip.
Well, you remember back in the 80s when Loyola Marymount had Hank Gathers and Bo Kemble, and they were just scoring in bunches, 140 points a game. They had some shootouts against Oklahoma when Wayman Tisdale was there. We're going way too far back, but games were 130 to 140 range. We're not going to live and die on the three, but if they do in season what I saw them do in one of the practices that I attended, I mean, they're going to be getting up and down the court very quickly. In fact, they treated one possession that stuck out in my mind was they got the ball out of the net, they inbounded it, and I can't remember which guard it was walking it up trying to get them organized. Mark blew the whistle, treated it as a turnover, gave it to the other team, and back they came the other way just because he didn't push it up the court. And so that's what a priority it is for them.
I'm sorry for stepping on you. He came and called it a turnover because they weren't moving the ball up that quickly. What a great way to get your point across.
Yeah, no, he was orchestrating up the court, what he wanted him to do, and he was walking it up, and he tweeted the whistle and said turnover, gave it to the other team, and they came in the opposite direction. So he is going to play fast, and I don't have any reason to believe that they're not going to.
Again, I apologize for stepping on. That's a great story, and what a positive way to reinforce to your kids on the team. Sorry, I'm old. They are kids to me. The players on the team that I ain't messing around. And I bet that player learned a very valuable lesson, yes?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And he's driving his point home. It wasn't to penalize him, but it is to ingrain the thought process. We're getting it out. We're getting it up. And, it's just everything he's doing is ingraining that. The other thing that I loved about this team, and I think I mentioned it on a previous show that I was on with you, is I just love the competitive spirit that's in the gym. I mean, they battle on every drill, every play. You'd see guys out of sheer frustration, like punch a basketball that was loose just out of frustration that they didn't, perform to the maximum of their abilities. There's great energy in that gym. And the camaraderie between the guys seems like it's a very tight-knit group. We have every reason to be super optimistic right now.
It's interesting. If you're watching on YouTube, as you were describing the competitiveness, you started smiling as you were talking. That was really nice, Chip. I got to be fast, but I want to ask you a football thing. Cool. Scale of 1 to 10, local kid, a ton of people. How excited are you to see Cutler Bowley, who I think they're giving the keys to the car, even though Stoops won't say it, and I understand why he's not saying it?
I'm super excited. I think, everything that I've heard, I don't think they were willing to commit to Cutler after the Louisville performance last year. So they went out and they acquired Calzada.
Well, I love how you said that. Hold it. I'll let you continue, I promise. I love how you said that. You said acquired. That's what it is. Acquiring athletes in college now. Go ahead, Chip. People that word needs to become prevalent. Yeah, we acquired this. Please go ahead.
And that was intentional because that's what we're doing nowadays. So they went out, they bought a solution. He's got 7 years of experience. I think he's kind of above his floor, and he doesn't have a much higher ceiling, so he is what he is. I think by everything that I heard coming out of fall camp, that Cutter had really advanced from that Louisville start to have a strong campaign. And because they went out and acquired for a significant amount of money Calzada Services, they gave him the nod. But I think we've seen enough of the struggles. I think Cutter's ready to seize the moment, and I'm excited. You know, we saw, what was it, Billy Jack Haskins years ago start at quarterback, and then they finally gave it to Tim, and we saw the program explode. I'm hoping that we see the same thing happen after Saturday.
Thank you, brother. Sorry for messing up the schedule. Thank you for you keeping me in line. I'm supposed to keep you, but you keep me in line.
No, I love being with you. It's good to have you back, and look forward to joining you again sometime soon.
Thank you. Appreciate you tremendously, Chip. Friendship and on air. Thanks, man.
See you.
Have a good day. Chip Rupp, always good. I love it, Jimmy. He used the word acquired. How good is that? It's the perfect word. And I've used the word acquired, but to hear a guest use the word acquire, that's one of the reasons he does the show. He's so in tune of what's going on. You acquire players. You acquire.
Chip's the best.
He really is. God bless him. He is the best. Deuce Williams coming up next. And Deuce, I'm late. I apologize. Terry Page. My fault, of course. Terry Page. Now, take this down. Easy to remember. naturalhealingandpainrelief.com. naturalhealingandpainrelief.com. Go there. You can get an appointment to talk to her for 15 minutes. Free, obviously, to talk about what your needs are and how she can help you. I think that will help her and help you. It's a great idea. Her idea, not mine. She's spectacular. Helped me tremendously yesterday. She is a healer and a great licensed massage therapist. First couple days of the week in Butler, Kentucky. Rest of the week here in Lexington. Text her or call her. To get an appointment, 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. Terry Page, a friend, a healer. She's helped me tremendously. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrell family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Down, set, hack. Corn dogs coming in for the blitz.
Rick, what are you doing?
Brent, I'm practicing my snack plays for the next football game.
Well, in that case, Uncle Rick, stop by any Clutch Stop and Shop and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Uncle Ray's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Don't get sidelined without your supplies this football season. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
I mean, I'm going to get out there and let it rip. That's for sure.
So the question is, as a defensive player, when you hear a quarterback say, I'm going to go out there and let it rip, how does a guy who was a studly linebacker for Kentucky when Lincoln was president.
Oh, here we go, man.
You missed me.
I'm not that damn old.
Who else does this mean to you but me? And we do it on radio.
I know it, and I love it, man. You know I love when you jab me, and I love to jab you too.
Absolutely. Hey, if as my daughter said when I retired, my dad could dish it out, but he could take it. You got to take it. It's fun. It's absolutely fun. Deuce Williams, studly linebacker in the good old days. So give me and thanks for joining us, and hopefully this will be on a regular basis. Now, football is back, and I'm excited. A scale of 1 to 10, maybe you're not excited. I'm guessing you are. You tell me how excited you are to see Cutter Boley play. Local kid, tall, smart, strong, has an arm. Tim Couch told me a couple of years ago, for a kid his age, he's got a great long touch. How excited, and if Tim says that, that means a lot to obviously both of us, and that was both privately and on the show. You know, sometimes people say something a little differently privately, whatever. That's just the real world. No, Tim said it both ways. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10, even though Eastern Michigan stinks? And if they're hearing this, I don't care. I mean, they give up over 500 yards multiple times. If that makes them play harder, I don't think it's good enough to win the game. If it is, then Kentucky's not doing their job. So I don't, that stuff, oh, you excited the other team? That's a bunch of BS. It really is. Go play the game. How excited are you to see Cutter Boley play after all that buildup?
Man, it's a 10 for me. If you remember, I'm gonna have Jimmy go back and cue it up maybe next week when we talked. I told you a couple months ago when there was a quarterback race, there was a lot of talk, and you said, "Nah, Calzada's going to start." And I said, "Man, I'm not so sure of that. I think this Cutter Boley might give him a run for his money." And so we had, you and I had some conversation about that. Jimmy will cue it up for next week, but I said that. Coming out of camp, I was hearing, I think I texted you that Boley was playing lights out. I mean, he was just, and from what I've been told, and I didn't get a chance to put my eyes on it, but I heard he outplayed him in camp, which to me, I understand we bring this kid in, he's got 7 years, but you gotta play your best, the player that performed the best. And I'm so happy for the local kid to get a shot. And I think he's going to play really well for us.
You know, here's the other thing, and he's a great kid too. And by the way, I like Zach. You know, when you come from Cuba and you respect what your parents and grandparents did to sacrifice for you, how do you not like the young man? I mean, he appreciates and that kind of stuff, so you root for him. But I always wanted to get the job, and I was told from inside that Boley was playing better, but they gave it to Zach, and I think they promised him, which ticks me off. But here's my question to you, though. Football players aren't stupid. Duh. They know what's going on. They are often smarter than the public, I think, at times gives them credit. And you know if somebody's playing better than somebody else. I've always wondered how that affects the TEAM. Look, you're going to do what you do, and you're going to play hard and all that kind of stuff. Let's get past that. But the psychological part, when you know somebody else is playing better, and for whatever reason, they're not given the job, can that affect the team mentally? Because the coach says the best player always plays. Well, I wonder if Calzada was promised the job, and he had to promise him to get it here because he had other places he could have gone. Duh, there's no question about that. And if you promise, you got to keep your word, but you're supposed to also play the best players. So what the heck? Where's the dichotomy there? I mean, how does a player look, Deuce? Let's set you back 50 years, and now you're a studly linebacker for Kentucky again, and you know somebody is outplaying the other person, and they're not getting the job. Does it tick you off? Does it affect your performance? Does it affect the team? Does it bring morale down? Is there no effect at all?
No, 100% it's going to affect the team. I think people can see, like I said, people have blinders on. You can really quickly tell who is outplaying somebody else. And when that happens, they deserve a chance to play. That's they laid it on the line during practice, and they show that they're their best. They should get a chance to play in the game. And honestly and openly, I texted you last week. This has already happened twice, in my opinion. I felt that Cutter Boley should have played from week one, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm going on record. You got me on record right now. McGowan is the best offensive player that we have, and he's been that way since the first snap I saw him play. He got more touches last week, but he didn't get those touches until the second half. In the first game, he didn't get the touches that I thought he should have got. This guy can be dynamic. He is a dynamic running back. He's got that twitch. I'll go on record to tell you he's special.
You know, it's interesting, and I've been pushing this for quite a while now. Stoops not knowing for passing, even though he says he wants to be balanced and you got to throw the ball, and that's nice, but that's not the real world to young people. And I get that. And you also got to recruit and that kind of thing. But because he's a running back coach, they've brought in 2 studly running backs. 2, yet, you know, with the wideouts, there was no quarterback when you're trying to get wideouts to come in. You're not throwing the ball enough. You lost 2 really good wideouts to different schools because they weren't happy here. It's got to be difficult to recruit. And I'm telling you, they have done a horrible job. I'm not ripping the kids that are here because they could have played at other places and probably caught more balls at another level down. Again, I'm not being discriminatory or negative. If you're a great wide receiver from Florida, why the hell would you come to Kentucky?
At this point, I don't think there is a reason. Several years ago, there probably was, but I mean, we haven't shown that we're going to line up and have a strong enough system to move the ball down the field through the air. What we have shown throughout the years is that we're going to line up and knock you off the ball. Now, the last 2 years, I don't think that we've done that. I do think this offensive line is good enough that we can line up and run the football finally after 2 years. So to answer your question, no. You know, the offensive scheme and the personnel that we have right now does not drive me, if I'm a recruit, to want to come to Kentucky to play wide receiver. It just wouldn't.
Derek Ramsey had a good point earlier in the show when he said last year was the first time Stoops didn't have a running back, which in itself is surprising. And I wonder if this line this year was the line last year. I think they would have gone to a bowl game. I think the line is that much better, and he's got 2 studly running backs. And really, I'm standing by my prediction. I'm going to a bowl game. I'm not saying we win 10, but I think they can win 6, and they should win 6. And I'm going to scream at you if you say, well, the schedule's tough, because everybody's schedule's tough in the Southeastern Conference. Come on, you played it. Did Vanderbilt hit you that much easier than Florida when you played?
Man. Everybody hit. You know, this league is special. And everybody knows that. I mean, we've talked about it, but this league is special. And yes, they should win 6 football games. Last week should have been a win. We were better than that football team. I will tell you that.
I agree. But I tell you, one of the things, since you're a defensive guy, and I've been pushing this all week, the Yaks were terrible defensively. The little short hitch, and they kept on doing the same thing, because I'm a believer, if a play works, I don't know why coaches don't keep on calling the play until you stop it. And then if you have to adjust to stop it, that usually means there's something else open somewhere else. I never understand that about coaches. I will never. Oh, great. The end around was really good. Did you call it again during the game? Well, no. Why the hell not? Call it 8 times. Suppose it works 6. Make them do something where something else is open, because that's what coaches on top are supposed to do. They're supposed to see the holes. That's the one part about coaching I will never understand, because I know I'm smarter than a lot of these guys. End around 18 yards. Great. Maybe not do it the next play. Next series, do it again. Okay, now if you stop it twice in a row, then don't call the play again. But suppose you run it 5 times, it works 4. I mean, it helps you. So anyway, do you agree with that or not, that coaches don't call a successful play often enough in a game when it's working?
Yeah, I think they should. You know, to Coach Stoops' defense, you know, he's lived and died by running the football, and I will tell you that over the years, you know, that when we're playing well, you can always count on us to run the football, and he goes back to plays offensively running the ball that I think makes sense. But yeah, to your point, I think you need to feed it to the people that are getting you the results that you need, and you need to run plays if they were successful until somebody can stop it. Why not run the damn ball, or why not throw the ball if somebody is backing off of you? And it just seems like in our scheme for the last couple of years, it's just been disjointed is the best way I can explain it.
I just listened to Belichick's book. It's really good, by the way. Knowing you'd really like it, by the way.
Cool.
Book. I do audio books, and he admits a lot of mistakes he made. Very open, very no filter, very matter of fact. Knowing you, Deuce, I bet you would love the book. And I don't remember the game, but he talked about it. I remember the game when he talked about it, but I now don't remember the game that it was. So they didn't think they can run the ball. It's a playoff game. And I don't remember. They threw 14, 15, or 18 passes in a row. Didn't care. They couldn't adjust. So what is he doing? Well, what do I care? If you're not going to adjust, we're going to keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And if you adjust that much, maybe our bad running game, which wasn't as good as the defense, now you can surprise them with it, but they didn't. And I remember reading a game story years ago about that. They kept on waiting for, the other team to adjust, and Belichick's going, "You're not going to adjust? Okay. I got this guy named Brady. We'll keep on throwing the ball." And so I don't understand that about coaches. Let me ask you about the Yaks. I thought the tackling by the secondary sucked. We played a soundbite. I knew it was a lot, but Brad White said 105 yards in the first half of Yaks. And they would do the same damn thing, those short hits, and always spin to the outside. Now, as a linebacker, you want to spin the inside so you can get a little taste, and maybe if you're
That's
watching
right.
Deuce is smiling like crazy, but their quickness, how they did it, that Kentucky couldn't handle. And that was, athletically speaking, in that game against Ole Miss. Ole Miss's wideouts were, athletically speaking, much better than Kentucky's DBs. Now, I know Waller wasn't in the game, and I know JQ had to play more snaps. But, if you're that tired and you got to play more snaps, you got to play somebody else. Whatever that formula is, it didn't work. Ole Miss was much better. Brad White, as defensive coordinator, said that cost them the game on the 4th and 1 when they went for a ton of yards. And nobody's surprised when Ole Miss's coach Lane Kiffin goes for something on 4th down because he's a gambler. So to me, everybody's talking about the quarterback, but the DBs have to do a better job. Now, Eastern Michigan doesn't count, but they're going to have to do a better job when you're playing real teams about getting these guys down on the ground.
No, I agree. It's our secondary just did not play well outside of Ty. Ty Bryant played his butt off, man. I mean, he really did. 2 interceptions, and I think he had 10 tackles. He did everything that you would want to see in a safety. But our corners played soft, very soft and off the ball. And you just can't do that against these type of athletes. They're going to throw it to them short, and they're going to make you miss and get up the field. And so we're going to have to get that figured out pretty quickly, especially in the SEC.
Okay, so let me throw this at you, and I don't have the answer, and I wonder if you do, and this not being disrespectful.
No.
Is that going to be a problem all year about the Yaks by the other teams? And I'm not saying it will. I'm going to tell you, Deuce, I don't know. But the Yaks were so prominent. They were so powerful. They were so strong against Kentucky. It's a legitimate question because you're going to give up over 100 yards on Yaks in a half? That can cost you a lot of games. Again, Waller wasn't in. But you know what? Come on, you know this. Kids get hurt. They come in, they come out, all that kind of stuff. That's why you have to have depth. That's why he was talking about having to play more people. And some of the kids, maybe they gave up Yaks. Maybe they'll be better in 4 or 5 weeks, so that could help out too. But I think it's a legitimate concern. I'm not hitting the panic button. I'm going to tell you I don't know. But that many Yaks, it was awful.
Yeah. Well, here's what I will tell you too. And look, secondary, I'm gonna give them just a little bit of a break here. I think we need to rush the passer a little bit stronger too. We haven't had anybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't had anybody with that twitch on the outside since Josh Allen that can disrupt the quarterback with the amount of sacks that he has. And let's just be honest, the more pressure you can get on the quarterback, the better chance are you going to have of him making a mistake or throw it in the wrong place. And he did that early on. I mean, he threw it 2 interceptions to Ty. But it just seemed like after that, man, we've got to start to get some pressure up the field from our defensive ends, outside linebackers to try to help and take some relief off our corners as well.
Well, in the second interception that Ty Bryant got, by the way, I teased Cisco. I teased him that enjoy Ty this year. He's going to the NFL. And he goes, wait, let's go through this year first. Because it wouldn't surprise me if he goes to the NFL after this year. But the second pick, White gave credit to David Guster for hitting the quarterback and rushing the throw, which helped Ty. And White complimented the defensive line.
I think inside, they were okay. But what I like to see from our defensive ends is somebody that's again, and he was special in Josh Allen, but you got to get a lot of pressure up the field. It really will help everybody's going to help your linebackers, but especially your secondary in the passing situation. Those guys are really going to have to start, putting some more pressure on the quarterback. And in that situation, I don't disagree. I think that it was a rush, which created a turnover. It was a turnover, if I'm not mistaken, the second one that we got 3 points off and off of that turnover. And I love to see a touchdown. But anyway, the more pressure we can get, Alan, the better off we're going to be as we move through the SEC for sure.
Absolutely. But a kid I want to see more of, he doesn't play a lot, but it seems like every time he's in there, he's disruptive. Steven Souls.
Yeah.
He's nasty now. I mean, and he's quick, and he's got, it's like he's a yogi guy or something, the way he can bend and twist his body and stuff like that. He's listed at 235. He's listed at 6'2". I think that's generous. He's around it. But whatever it is, he seems to have the it factor. And he just, I like him a lot. He's playing some, but not as much as I thought because he's around the quarterback. They need, you're right, more of that. And there ain't no Josh Allen's walking through the door. We might not see that for another 15 years. If Josh plays long enough without getting hurt, he's going to the NFL Hall of Fame.
I agree with you. He was a special player. You could see that early on, and credit to Stoops and the staff. They developed him. He didn't come in just being that, they put a lot of time and effort into him, but he was just a special player. And you're right. We might not see another Josh Allen in 15 years, but give me somebody close. We've had a Bud Dupree and several others that were special at that defensive end. And that's the responsibility of the coaching staff and the people that are recruiting is go find those gems.
Josh Allen had something that a lot of players don't have. How many players 7 o'clock in the morning will get on the treadmill on their own and sprint? I mean, his work ethic, and I've told this story a number of times, he wasn't even 190 pounds. He told me on tape for a TV story when he got here. Did you ever do this? Because you were light.
Yes, I was real light.
Okay, so did you? Now, I know of some, Wesley Woodyard told me he did it. Josh Allen told me he did it. You know what? I've wondered if you did it, because you'll come clean now. If he actually put weights in your pocket to weigh more because the coaches didn't think you weighed enough. You're smiling now. Did you do that?
I did. Yeah, I did. They tried to, I hate to even mention this, man, but I was about 195 pound, 200 pound guy when I was playing. And the biggest I think I've ever played was at 205. And they tried to get me to put weight on. I was on a special diet, and I was told, hey, you need to show up at a certain weight when you get to camp, because they always weigh us in. And so I put a weight back there, which they end up catching. One of my good coaches and friends ended up catching me trying to put a weight back there to kind of
busted.
Yeah, I got busted, man. I got busted on it, and we laughed it off. If they probably weren't real happy about it, but back then, man, I prided myself on being in a really good shape. My body fat was really low, and I could run forever at those times. My lungs just won't let me do that anymore. But that is for sure. I think one of the advantages that I had. But yes, I did get busted on the whole weight thing, which not good.
At it now, though, right?
Yeah, I can admit it. Yeah, I just wish now that I could take off the weight. Back then, I was trying to put it on. Now I need to take it off, man.
Far be it for me to make a comment. See, there are a lot of guys that I thought got screwed, and I don't mean it's from a negative point of view. Cisco Bryan, if he played DB, he and I have talked about it, would have played in the NFL for. He was nasty, but they moved him to offense because they needed a hell of a blocker. He could catch the ball, but he wasn't a wideout. He made himself into a wideout, but I really think he would have been a captain in the NFL player. I think you and I have talked about this forever ago. That if you played strong safety and as smart as you were, I think you would have played in the league for a long time.
Man, it's always debated for sure. And, I never look back on those kind of things. It's just, and I agree with you. I think that strong safety was my natural position. I was a little bit light to play linebacker. I was fortunate enough to play behind big defensive end where I could move and run and make plays. But I was naturally a strong safety. But at that time, we had a bunch of people that fit that mold. And I was the only one that could play in the box, right? The rest of those guys could not play in the box. I played linebacker in high school, and just had a knack for the ball, being inside the box. And so, look, you do what's best for the team, and I think that's what I did, and that's what they asked me to do, and it worked out to be great. I wouldn't change anything about the way that everything went down in my career.
Hey, man, I appreciate your time. You're going to join us next Tuesday, hopefully every week, if you can fit me in your schedule talking football, because you're great at it. Besides, you're a really good friend. And it's just two old dogs. Sorry, you're not young either. Hey, I called myself an old dog. Actually,
you did.
Wait a second. Okay. One old dog and one older dog. How's that sound? Is that legitimate?
Hey, no, we're both right in there, man, and we're aging but having fun. And I always enjoy coming on and talking to you, man. And before I leave, congratulations again on the. I know your son got married this past weekend, and that was awesome. Congratulations to you and Judy, man. I just want to wish y'all congratulations on that.
God bless you for that. And I haven't seen your dad in a long time because I'm not usually at the Y that time of day anymore. His dad is a monster on the exercise bike. He pounds that thing and pounds that thing. And not every time, but many times your dad and I have had lovely conversations, beaming about grandpa and your kids and stuff like that, grinning from ear to ear. Please say hi to your dad for me.
I'll do it, man. I'll do it. Talk to you guys next week.
Hey, bless you, man.
Bless you.
Thanks. Dude, love the dude. I mean, come on. We got Ramsey and Williams and Rupp. You know what that sounds like? Seriously? It sounds like a really good law firm. What do you think?
It's a pretty good lineup for a Friday.
Yeah, it really is. Three great guests who are friends and are very special people. It's pretty simple. Hey, don't forget about Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist on Versailles Road. Ramon Carriega, he's a special man. He's helped me tremendously. You know, on the one hand, some people think acupuncture is expensive. I think it's cheap because your health is worth its weight in gold. Blue Lotus Health. He's helped my neck out. I've had a lot of problems with my neck. It's getting better because my eyesight, I couldn't sleep certain ways, and he's improved it a lot. So is Terry. But thank you to both of them. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914. Jimmy, have yourself a great, blessed weekend. I'll be back on Monday. Enjoy the game. I'm excited to watch Mr. Young Boley play quarterback. Matthew and Jimmy at 10 on Monday. I'll be back at noon. Brad Taylor coming up next, and always at 2 o'clock. Have a blessed day. Thank you for listening. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.